Suleria. On behalf of Viewpoint, I'll be interviewing Professor Nazir Nazish. He is chairperson of People's National Party in Azad Jammu and Kashmir. He has been teaching sociology at Birmingham University for about 20 odd years, has gone into retirement now. He has been active in international Marxist movement since 1969, has been very active in Kashmir liberation struggle for decades. Recently, he came across some secret documents about the activities of Kashmiri Marxists in England. We were lucky to come and visit him, and we'll ask about these documents with him. Thank you, Professor Saad. Really nice having you on Viewpoint panel. Recently, you have come across some secret documents. Would you tell us about these documents and what they were about? Why the Pakistan embassy was keeping an eye on you and some other Marxist activists who were working for Kashmir liberation, campaigning on Ganga hijacking case, but at the same time supporting the Bangladesh liberation struggle?
About four or five of us Kashmiri young people in the UK who were inspired by international revolutionary Marxist movement and were part of that. I was member of Communist Party of Great Britain. Also Yusuf Sani, who happened to be my cousin, maternal cousin, was actually a very prominent member of Communist Party and head of education department. There was another comrade, Kashmiri comrade, and still alive, Mohammed Bashir, also a part of international Marxist movement, and our own, actually, from our own Kashmiri community, Master Abdul Majid, Muhammad Yunus. As I said, I joined the Communist Party in 1969, and since then we were trying to organize Kashmiris on the basis of really that progressive international movements and try to work for liberation of Kashmir from that perspective. So we decided to form United Kashmir Liberation Front, modeled on international liberation movement and international socialist revolutionary struggle. So we were active, particularly during 70 when Ganga plan was hijacked by members of Liberation Front of Mahadra Shumari or Plebiscite Front. And the entire leadership was arrested. We started campaigning for their release and tried to project the liberation struggle of Kashmiris from India and Pakistan. Also, during that period, West Pakistan had sent army action in East Bengal at that time, and there was international outcry about human right violation or nationalist struggle being suppressed by our Pakistan army. So we were also campaigning for the right of Bengali people for national self-determination and their national struggle. And it was in that context that our membership of international Marxist movement, as well as our demand for the defense of liberation movements of East Pakistan and Kashmir, that we were followed by Pakistan embassy officials. We didn't know. We knew the people were actually coming into our meeting and taking notes or whatever. And it was actually that our own struggle as Marxists which became focus of their interest, and they started sending reports back to Pakistan.
And what these reports were saying?
We found out that actually Embassy of Staff had opened file on Yusuf Sani, myself, Mohammed Bashir, and a few other Kashmiri activists who were part of United Kashmir Liberation Front. These are campaigning against Pakistan interests. They are Marxist, and they are actually provoking Pakistani Kashmiri community and trying to damage Pakistan's cause. So basically, the secret file were our movement inside Kashmir came to know about that, and when we found out, we wanted to really expose it, but for some reason it wasn't actually available. I recently was given the actual copies. I was shown, even in the 70s when I used to go Kashmir, that there was actually a Pakistan embassy having files on us, and there were files were sent to law enforcement agencies in Pakistan as Kashmir, who would actually try to clamp down on our families to stop us, doing our liberation struggle and highlighting the cause of Kashmir liberation in UK or Europe.
You have been active in Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front as well. You have been active on other radical platforms and have been in the leadership of all the left movements, both here in England and in Kashmir. Have these sort of spying efforts by the state on you created problems for you, and do you think this is still going on? Are you still being watched?
Always, whenever there were demonstrations, we would find any suspicious people taking our photographs. Whenever we actually raised public profile, public meeting here in the UK, we found that people were actually tailing us and trying to record our activities. Every time I went to Kashmir, I had this actually people shadowing me. Even during 70s and 80s, people would come to my family home and talk to my neighbor. Even my brother-in-law has been asked many times, what is he up to? Professor Nazish is here, what's he doing? And he would say, why don't you go and ask him? One of the reasons I used to go to Kashmir was my academic interest with actually Sociological Association of Europe and Berlin Center for Comparative Sociological Research. I used to accompany Professor Johann Balaschke, and many times, I think 5-6 trips we made. The research was on different issues on Pakistan labor movement, Pakistan's actually organizations, community organization, and the role of diaspora there. And agency, I was told these are agency people who would come and sit outside my family home where Professor Balaschke and I would have, association with local nationalists, local, liberation movement, NSF leaders. We used to invite them, used to hold public. So all the, even recent as these years I went as a leader of, or now being elected as the head of Jammu Kashmir People's National Party. The role of those shadowing characters are still there. They come and sit outside or watch and make notes. So direct intimidation was felt by their presence, really. And my family member would be asked, could you tell us what's he up to, what's he doing, who are these people? So it has been all the time part of.
These documents also speak about Tariq Ali. How does he come into picture? If you were in touch with Tariq Ali, he was a non-student leader at the time, and I think perhaps you two have been together in different struggles.
Very, quite long association in early 70s and late 60s. It so happened that when we formed UKLF, at that time, 69 was the period when Tariq was in the forefront of British media and political scene. He was head of Oxford Student Union, or also a very prominent member of International Revolutionary Marxist Movement, very known Trotskyist organization of Fourth International, which he split up and founded the IMG International Marxist Group. So as a member of Communist Party, and our policy was that we do not actually have sectarian issues dividing us, Marxists, wherever we are. We use on issue of racism, on issue of national liberation, of international liberation movement. Party policy was that we must unite all progressive people, including different tendency of Marxism. So it was that actually political activism which I was involved, and I came to across with Tariq. First time I met him in a demonstration in London, which was organized by Student Union, led by Tariq Ali, and it was a major publicity stunt. Local media was saying that this is going to be a major fiasco, there will be violence, and it should be banned. But student union led by Tariq Ali at that time from Oxford University was giving peaceful messages. So it was that demonstration against American imperialism in Vietnam and against the Vietnam War that I actually joined hand in hand with Tariq, not knowing that I knew him, but I didn't know. I knew of him, but I didn't know him. And from that association, he actually, when we formed UKLF, he became sympathizer and supporter. And also when we started campaigning for Kashmir liberation and UKLF started publishing, Tariq was very interested in that. So we started, and especially against Pakistan military action in Bengal, it was a wider movement of international Marxists and local Indian or Pakistani associations, worker associations, which we all came together. And we started really working together. We started an Urdu magazine called Shola, which Tariq provided the publication services because he had his own press and publishing read more from that, from Marxist point of view. So that association led us to really think of Kashmir. We started, and he was supporting. We used to hold meetings, and we would be invited. A very charismatic leader, young leader, who was inspiring a lot of young people. So we decided that when Bangladesh situation came to, East Bengal situation came to real heightened struggle, we found out that Tariq went to East Pakistan to see if there was any chance of really participating and getting directly involved. So when he came back, we found out, and we said, why did you go there? Why don't you go to Kashmir? So it was myself, Yusuf Sani, Bashir, we persuaded him to go to Kashmir. So he went there, and we provided him actually contacts from NSF and Sufi Zaman, who was leading leader of Mahadra Plebiscite Front in Mirpur, Azad Kashmir, and he stayed at Sufi Zaman, which is my maternal cousin, and met a lot of young people. So Tariq, being international Marxist, he was committed to support Kashmiri liberation in his struggle, Kashmiri left organizations of students. So it was that association, regardless of our Marxist, variations of different approaches. At that time, there was a unity of purpose to support oppressed people wherever they are. So from an international perspective, we were working together, and Tariq went to Kashmir, and he then, this report, also recorded that meeting, the entire, and that file I have now, those secret documents, talks about Tariq Ali being actually received by Sufi Zaman, Muhammad Yusuf Sani, Nazir Nazish, Muhammad Bashir. They are all culprit working as Pakistan. So those documents were supposedly